a project basis, whereby I got 3 separate papers or 3 separate projects. Okay, each project is a standalone project. Standalone means, for example, chapter 3 here is one title, is one project. Okay, chapter 4 is another project. Chapter 5 is another project. So every project has its own introduction, has its own literature review, has its own method, has its own results, and also has its own conclusion. So basically, what you are looking at the general scope, general guide, structure of a thesis. Okay, the 5 chapters. I have that each and all the 5 chapters repeated for every project that I did. So basically, this is like a small journal project, one journal project, one another journal paper, and another journal paper. Okay, if you go through any journal papers in Google Scholar, okay, so if you go to Google Scholar in Google, okay, and you find any journal paper, so journal papers is usually around 20-30 pages long. So that is the idea or the structure of my thesis. So you cannot, I mean, I cannot actually use my thesis actually to guide you on these 5 chapters. Okay, so but the main difference of following this conventional or this typical style of writing, okay, because the entire thesis is based on one project, one big project lah. So the backgrounds of the study in this kind of format should be long, okay, compared to mine, because mine, when I did my PhD, okay, I have 3 different projects. So each of the introduction section in each of the chapter. Chapter 3 is one project, chapter 4 is one project. Okay, so my introduction is a bit short lah, because this introduction is only relevant for this particular project. It's just like the introduction that you can find in any journal paper. Okay, maybe it's around 1 to 2 pages long only. Okay, but in a typical thesis, okay, whether it's master's thesis or PhD thesis, so by now, okay, I would have expected that you have gone through at least, 10, 15 theses from the Google Drive, okay, that I given to you. I mean, not to read in detail or try to understand, but at least you can just skim through, several titles of the thesis, okay, whether master's or PhD, and see how much or what is the length of the discussion. Of course, PhD will be much longer than a master's thesis lah. Okay, and your undergraduate project should be much shorter than a master's thesis for sure. Okay, so we are looking maybe around 50-60 pages long for a full project, okay, for undergraduate. Okay, master's thesis normally around 80 to 90 pages. I mean, depending lah, sometimes you might find that it's a bit too much, but once you start writing, you put all the tables, all the graph, the figures, the references, you can easily write more than 50 pages actually. Okay, because it's double spacing, all those formatting thing. So, actually once students start writing, they tend to write too much, meaning they have problem actually to reduce, not to increase the amount of writing. Okay, so I will just share one of the project that from my thesis, okay, and that will be on this chapter 5, because that is something to do on Malaysia case specifically. Okay, so my area of expertise or my focus or my interest actually deals with, of course, secondary data analysis. It got to do with regression. Okay, the primary data is not my area of focus lah. Of course, I still involved in primary data analysis using questionnaire, but mainly on research with my other lecturers. But my own work, okay, my own interest, mainly on regression, okay, using econometrics. Okay, so I rely on secondary data downloaded from sources lah, like from Bank Negara, World Bank, and whatnot. Okay, so and then I use econometric techniques, okay, to answer the objectives of my research. Okay, whenever you write an introduction, okay, of course, we haven't gone through this research question objectives yet, okay, and yet let alone problem statement. Okay, so this will be done, I think, sometime next week lah. Okay, so so the recorded video that I will give you on next Monday class will be touching a bit on problem statement. So based on that video, okay, you can, and also your own reading from the thesis of the collection of thesis in the Google Drive. okay, you may need to come up with a short, write up around half a page of your own problem statement, how you actually plan to write, or what will be the keywords, the thing that you want to highlight because if you read from the internet, okay, the length of a problem statement should be around 200 to 300 pages only. But of course, in the real world, in my own experience as a lecturer examining PhD student, master student, they can go up to 1,000 pages, even more. So this is a sign of not a good problem statement. Okay, but if you go through the guideline, the best problem statement should only around 300 400 pages long. Sorry, 400 words long, meaning you are looking around 1 page to 1.5 page, maximum 2 pages long, even for a PhD thesis. Okay, meaning that it should be concise, straight to the point. Okay, not going or beating around the bush. So straight to the point. So that's why you need to provide a lengthy discussion on the background, so that by the time you reach your problem statement, you know what is the general issue already. So you just highlight, okay, what is the key problem of the project, okay, that you want actually to focus. Okay, so that is one thing lah. Okay, so whenever you want to begin writing your introduction, okay, you need to view your introduction as a reverse pyramid lah. Okay, meaning that you start on the general perspective or general points first. This may be around the first 1 or 2 paragraphs. Okay, and then the following third and the fourth paragraph will be, you start to narrow down the focus of your project, meaning you will start mentioning about the scope of your study. Okay, for example, mine is on Malaysia, right? Oil price shocks means the large increase or the large decrease in oil price. So that my main thesis, the whole thesis of my PhD actually evolved around the oil price shocks issue. Okay, as we know, oil price can go up very, very high, or it can even be so low. Okay, for example, in last year when the pandemic began, okay, oil price dropped as low as $20 per barrel. Okay, but back in 2007, 2008, okay, if you check the price of crude oil, harga minyak mentah, okay, it went up as high as $138, $140, around $140 per barrel. Okay, and we Malaysians, around that time, we need to pay almost around 3 ringgit per liter of petrol. Okay, so it's very expensive at that time. Okay, I think it's around 2 ringgit 70 cent, 2 ringgit 60 cent, if I'm not mistaken, around 2008, 2009. So of course, maybe that time you are still in your secondary school. Okay, you did not really concerned, because you are not the one paying for the petrol lah. Your parents are the one paying. Okay, but for working people who have vehicles to refuel, okay, it's a lot of money lah, just to get several liters of petrol into the car. Okay, so the issue of oil price shock is my main interest lah. Okay, so because the title is about Malaysia, okay, and how oil price actually affecting the macroeconomic variable like GDP, export, import, inflation, and whatnot. So because my focus is specifically done on Malaysia, okay, and the main variable will be in the oil price shocks lah, how it affects the Malaysian macroeconomy. Okay, so if you can see from this the first paragraph, okay, bear in mind that I mentioned that my thesis is more like a general approach, meaning one project at a time. So the introduction that you see in my thesis is not as long as the normal introduction in a typical conventional punya thesis lah. Okay, if you read, you go through some of the other titles from the Google Drive. Okay, so those who follow this convention, I think most of the thesis that you find, or maybe even all the thesis that you find in the Google Scholar, in the library, is based on this typical format, meaning you have one big project and it's divided into the 5 chapters. So because of this typical format, you expect to have a very detailed background of the study, because this background is for the whole thesis. Okay, but for my introduction, is just for this particular project. Okay, it's around 20 pages long, 20, 30 pages long of work. Okay, so of course you can see here, my thesis is around 240 something pages. Okay, so but it's divided according to many chapters lah, and this is one of the chapter. Okay, one of the chapters. So my introduction is quite short, but what I want to highlight is not the actual length, but how I went about and wrote my introduction. So when I mentioned that you start by highlighting the general issue first. Okay, so what I did was, if you can see from your screen, okay, I started by explaining Malaysia, how much or what is the contribution of the energy sector, okay, the petroleum sector into the Malaysian economy, how much the government actually earn from the Petronas, via through Petronas from the export of oil. Okay, so just to highlight, basically this is just to highlight the importance of the sector. Okay, then we can actually know how actually oil price increase or decrease will actually affect Malaysia, because Malaysia has also depend a lot on the oil industry. So any changes in the oil price will have a direct impact on the Malaysian economy because of our strong dependency on the oil sector. Okay, so this is just about the oil industry in Malaysia. So there is nothing to do with the oil price shocks yet. So I did not touch on this issue yet. Okay, so but in the second paragraph, okay, so I started writing introducing on the being a oil exporter. When oil price is high, it's good for Malaysia lah, because we get more revenue. Okay, so it's demand and supply lah kan. So the higher the price, we as producer of oil, we get more revenue lah. Okay, so this is just to highlight what will happen if the price of oil is high or the price of oil is low. Okay, so that will be the main agenda lah. And then I also provide some statistics. Okay, what happened when the oil price went up back in 2008? Okay, so this is what I mentioned just now. Back in 2007, 2008, when oil price went up so high, okay, so Malaysia was affected directly because of that. So again, whenever you provide numbers, okay, if you recall from this thesis on the FDI topic that we discussed last Monday, okay, when I asked some of you to actually share what the student actually wrote, okay, in the thesis, okay, and she provided some statistics. Okay, so the numbers is supposed to this statistic is supposed to strengthen the argument or highlight the importance of FDI in Malaysia. But don't forget that whenever you provide numbers, okay, you must provide the references or where does the source comes from, whether it's from economic report, statistics department or whatever, or from a newspaper clipping, okay, newspaper article. You need to provide the reference. So in this thesis, these statistics came from the FDI Confidence Index, FDIC. So in my own project, okay, I cited from the Department of Stats Malaysia. So these numbers are meant to actually, and for example, like here I've also included the footnote, okay, not the endnote. Footnote meaning I put number. You can see here the subscript upper 10. So and it's just mentioning how much Petronas actually contribute to the Malaysian sector, blah 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 lah. Okay. So whatever numbers that you provide, so numbers is very important, especially in economics thesis, okay, economics and agribusiness thesis. You need to provide statistics, okay, because that's what the focus of our thesis is lah. Okay, we are talking about numbers. Okay, so whenever you want to highlight, you want to use numbers are important, statistics are important, because that give more credible or weight into your introduction. Okay, for example, now in COVID-19, there are so many statistics, okay, about COVID-19, okay, about the number of cases and the number of deaths, unemployment numbers, inflation numbers, the number of companies that were forced to close down, the amount of subsidy, whatever numbers relevant to your particular issue. So you need to, if it is appropriate that for you to use some statistics to give more justification on your issue, okay, do not forget to put references, okay, put citation lah where that numbers came from. Okay, so there are several ways for you to cite. For example, you can put in bracket like this, or you can use something like this, according to or based on this report, okay, the amount of FDI, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this, whatever report that you refer to, this must appear also in your references, in your bibliography towards the end. Okay, so that is one thing lah, meaning numbers provide more, it gives more weight, okay, pemberat into your thesis. Okay, so my first two paragraph, the first is general, second is I begin to start writing on a bit on, okay, introducing what happens when price of oil increase and decrease. Okay, and the third paragraph, okay, I began to cite some papers, some references that are relevant that have done something to do on Malaysia, on the oil price issue as well. Okay, so whenever you write your introduction, okay, a good introduction does not only provide numbers, okay, but this is also where you can start you can start referring to few articles, few journal papers which are relevant to your issue, whether specific, for example, in the case of my project here, I selected few papers that were done specifically on, that include Malaysia as part of the study. For example, by this guy Epi Singhi, Cunado de Gracia, and also Jaafar 2008. Okay, so all these papers are actually somehow related on the issue of oil price shocks and the impact on the Malaysian economy. Of course, not exactly the same topic that I did, because what I'm doing is basically the same as what these three people have done, so there is nothing new that I can offer in my thesis. So, but whenever you refer to previous study, you just want to highlight that there are some studies done on Malaysia, okay, and we just want to highlight maybe some of the key findings that are also related to what you are actually doing, okay. But you do not want to provide too many references, or you do not want to cite, okay, rujuk kepada so many papers, because don't forget, in your chapter number 2, okay, chapter 2 of your thesis is devoted on your literature review. Okay, what is literature review? Of course, we will discuss this later, but I think by now you should get the idea. Literature review is a review or a summary of articles, journal articles, books, okay, especially journal articles lah. Okay, not thesis, not so much, because usually we refer to journal articles. Okay, on what people have done on topics similar to what you are doing. Similar means on the same scope, okay, the same agenda, the same issue. So this is where you need to provide more discussion on for example here, okay, even though I cited Abi Singhi, Cunado de Gracia, and Jaafar, but each time when I cited these three papers, it's only very briefly, very ringkas, very short, meaning it's just 1 or 2 lines, okay. But in the literature review section, okay, if you are writing a typical standard thesis like this, okay, you need to repeat, you need to explain again what Abi Singhi has done, but more detail lah. The study uses what method, from what year to what year, what is the main findings, what is the main conclusion. So meaning maybe Abi Singhi will take around maybe 5, 6, 7 lines of your writing, maybe half a page, depending on the paper lah. Maximum maybe half a page or 1 paragraph. Okay, 4, 5, 6 lines of writing just to highlight what Abi Singhi has done. The same thing with Jaafar and Cunado de Gracia. So there is no wrong, okay, to mention the author, the same paper twice. once in introduction, the second time will be in your literature review. But in the introduction, we do not provide too detailed, okay, what this paper is about, because the more detailed discussion will be provided in the literature review. Okay, so a good introduction will have reference. You need to provide reference citation, meaning you will be referring to several studies, maybe 3, 4, 5 articles at your level now in your undergraduate. Okay, you need to refer at least, maybe around 3, 4 papers that you will explain more in the literature review. Maybe you want to pick up, the most interesting or the most recent 2 or 3 papers. Papers mean journal lah. Okay, 2 or 3 journals which are very relevant to the issue that you want to do. Okay, maybe the most recent one ke, the most interesting one, okay, that you want to highlight. Okay, so you will put that somewhere in your introduction, maybe in the 4th paragraph, in the 3rd paragraph, depending on how much you want to write in the introduction. Okay, remember, because my style of writing is a bit short, so that's why I put this already in the 3rd paragraph. But in your own project, maybe this will appear in your 5th paragraph, your 6th paragraph. Okay, so there is no one standard format lah, how many paragraph you need to write. Okay, but the idea is that you need to have some paragraph. You need to refer to past study in your introduction as well, just to give more weightage in your introduction. You just want, so the purpose of this paragraph is basically you want to show that, okay, there are people who have done something similar on my topic or on your topic, okay, but and what is the main finding, so that whatever statistics that I provided earlier, these numbers, okay, actually it's has some connection with other studies that were done on Malaysia. So it provides more story lah in your write-up. Okay, and then of course here because in this project I did not have a separate literature review, so this actually is my literature review. But again, okay, my format of writing my project is more in the journal style of writing lah. Okay, so what I want to highlight is whenever you write an introduction, okay, it should be from general to specific. Okay, general to specific. So I mentioned last Monday that at your level, okay, whenever you are writing your introduction chapter, your background of the study, okay, I will expect around at least 4 to 5 pages of your background. Okay, so maybe the first 1 page, 1.5 page, okay, you need to provide general background, okay, and maybe some tables, some figures. So so this morning I mentioned to the group B. So I will repeat in your class also lah, the same example. So let's say you are interested to investigate, you want to do a topic on online purchase. I think some of the thesis that you find in the Google Drive, okay, got to do with online purchase, intention to use online method lah, okay, for the purchase. Online shopping lah, for example. Okay, so the topic of online purchase is very popular, it's very common. Okay, but due to the pandemic, I think the one of the industry that has benefited from the COVID-19 is online platform. Shopee, Lazada, Facebook purchase, whatever lah, from WhatsApp, Facebook, especially the proper online platform like Lazada and Shopee. Okay, so like in the US, maybe Amazon website, eBay. So there are many online platforms which are in China. It could be Alibaba, So these are online platforms that I think benefited from the pandemic because people cannot travel so much, people cannot go out, so they spend a lot of time at home. So there's nothing much to do except shopping lah. Even though you're not really shopping for luxury item, you may be shopping even for grocery items, for your necessary items. Okay, you buy stuff that you normally buy in the shop, okay, physically, but since you cannot go out, you want to minimize the risk of infection from COVID-19. So you order even your shampoo, maybe your cooking oil, your toothbrush, your toothpaste, maybe, you know, order from several, from the same shop and then get it delivered to your house. Okay, I did also the same thing. Order some, some basic things where normally I will buy, you know, in the actual, like for example, like in Tesco. Okay, but during the lockdown, okay, I said certain item we can buy online. So at least when we actually, even though I go to the actual store, we can reduce the time of shopping lah, because some of the items we can buy online already. Okay, so if one of your group lah, or maybe, you know, you are interested to do online purchase. Okay, so your introduction could be just the general general background of the online platform, maybe around the world. You can start directly on how pandemic COVID-19, okay, actually has increased the transaction of online purchase. Okay, you can maybe find some statistics of you know, the usage of the revenue generated from Amazon, from eBay, you know, just a general statistics on the online platform through around the world. So nothing to do with Malaysia. So just to give, you know, an idea that during pandemic 19, COVID-19, online platform has actually benefited from the, you know, from the lockdown. Okay, so some industry are badly affected lah. For example, the automotive industry. Okay, people cannot travel, so they don't really buy vehicles lah, and people cannot go to work, so people cannot you know, go to the factory and whatnot. Okay, so there are many industries that were affected, but at the same time there are also industries that benefit from the COVID-19. Okay, so so your, maybe the first two paragraphs you want to highlight, you know, about the you know, the statistics, some numbers about online purchase, why people actually use online platform during COVID-19. But of course, the most important is numbers lah, statistics. Okay, and where you need to use you know, provide the where you get the numbers from, whether from economic report, newspaper, you know, Berita Harian, Utusan Malaysia, whatever lah, or maybe from CNBC website, CNN, or whatever news, Bloomberg, that you get from the web. Okay, you can put that as the reference. Okay, so for introduction, yes, you can rely a lot on the references can come from newspaper. Okay, but whenever throughout your writing, especially, you know, when you start writing on your results, on your chapter 4 here, your if you want to compare your findings, okay, it must be based on the previous journals, not from newspaper lah. For example, after you do your regression, I mean, after you do your analysis, okay, you want to show that what you found in your thesis is also similar to what was found by Mr. A. Mr. A maybe did another project, maybe in a different country, but the conclusion is somewhat similar. So your whatever that you want to support your finding must be based on journal lah. Okay, but for introduction, yes, you can use references from newspaper. Okay, but not I mean, not in your different chapter lah, not in chapter 4, chapter 5. We can have references that come from newspaper, but not too many. And usually that will appear in your introduction chapter. Okay. So you can write something like that, meaning like chapter 1, I mean, the first 1 or 2 paragraphs, you want to talk about, you know, the issue of how pandemic or COVID-19, you know, create a big market for online purchase to actually grow. Okay, so that could be the first 1 or 3, the first 3 paragraphs. You want to provide some statistics, some bar graph, line graph that you may find from the web, from any economic report. So just to give an idea how the pandemic actually transformed the online industry, the online purchase platform, okay, to grow a lot. Okay, so, and then maybe the 4th paragraph, you want to start talking about the online scenario, the online platform in Malaysia. What are the maybe the top 5 websites that people go for? Okay, maybe Lazada, Shopee, you know, and also some other, and maybe we use platform like Food Panda or Grab Food, you know, because this website, this platform can also do the shopping for you. You can book, you can use the riders actually to go and collect the groceries from some of the platforms. Okay, so maybe of course you need, if you mention these are the top, you know, platform, you need to provide the references lah. Who says according to whom that this is the top platform. I mean, of course, certain things you can just goreng, or you can just put it, okay, in Malaysia the top three will be Shopee, Lazada, but you cannot make that kind of assumption. Okay, in academic writing, you need to provide the references. Okay, who says that Lazada and Shopee is the most popular one? Okay, there must be some study done, at least some simple survey, okay, that were done to justify that these are the top five platforms in Malaysia. Okay, so that will be, you know, meaning that at that, maybe in the third paragraph, the fourth paragraph, where you start writing on the online platform in Malaysia, that will be, meaning that in this pyramid, it could be, you know, somewhere here, you are here already. So the general will be the worldwide trend in the, you know, online purchase. And then in the fourth paragraph, where you start writing on Shopee, Lazada in Malaysia, that will be somewhere in this part of the pyramid. Okay, whereby you want to highlight why, I mean, these are the top ni lah, the top platforms in Malaysia. So that may need another one or two paragraphs. Okay, and then once you finish highlighting, these are the top platforms. So, and then this last two parts in the pyramid here. So what are the actually issues that you want to, what are the actually, you know, issues that you want to highlight? Is it why people are actually using online platform during COVID-19? Is that the main focus of the thesis? Okay, meaning that you want to investigate what are the reasons Malaysians prefer to use online platform, okay, during COVID-19. What are the reasons? Is it because of it's cheaper, or is it because it's convenient, or is it because you know, you want to avoid the risk of infection or whatever lah. So you want to see maybe what are the main reasons, not only one reason lah. What are the main reasons why people prefer to use online platform during COVID-19, during those, you know, the MCO, the lockdown period and whatnot. So if that is the issue, so you need to highlight this somewhere in the introduction, but not too much, because remember, in your thesis, you will have the problem statement section. Okay, the problem statement is where you want to highlight what is the issue that you are highlighting. Okay, so if the issue is actually, you know, the online platform is actually very important, so many, you want to highlight that maybe there are not many options, there are not many platform in Malaysia other than Shopee or maybe Lazada. Okay, this top two, whereby you believe that, you know, if many other, I mean, if companies start to actually use online platform, you know, the opportunity is very huge, okay, for them to capture a lot of the sales. Okay, so if that is the focus, for example, you want to see why people actually go for online purchase. Okay, so in your introduction just now, okay, after you mention about the general statistics around the world, and then the statistics in Malaysia, and then you want to highlight what are the actually issues surrounding the online purchase. Okay, is it, you know, why has it become so popular? Okay, so maybe that will be the focus on your, you know, the seventh paragraph, the meaning, like in the third page, for example, you want to highlight why online purchase has become so popular, okay, in Malaysia in the last, especially in the last couple of years, okay, during pandemic. What are and who are actually the main users? Are there, I mean, for example, youngsters, you know, people in the mid-20s, or even in the, you know, below 40 years old. So these are the things that maybe you want to highlight, just on the scope of the online purchase in Malaysia. Who are the users? You know, what are the goods that they normally buy? Is it groceries, or is it mainly based on gadgets, electronics products. So this, you need to find some evidence lah in terms of whether they come from previous study from journals or from newspaper report, economic report. What are the common products that companies that set buyers normally buy from Shopee? Okay, what are the top 5 or the top 10 products that online shoppers go for? Okay, when they use Lazada or Shopee, for example. Okay, so that will be that, I think, will provide you some good background of the impact of COVID-19 actually on the online purchase in Malaysia. At least you have provided enough statistics. What are the products that are very popular among customers in the online platform? Okay, so then you can actually highlight what is the issue actually concerning online purchase. Is it some study focus on the safety issue, on security. Maybe some focus on the just on the intention. Why do you go for online purchase? Okay, so that's where you need to read more lah. Of course, when you read articles on related to online purchase, okay, why people go online, what are the issues actually people are looking at? Okay, so this is where readings from past study will be very useful, because again, I'm not an expert in this kind of topic, so I will just be talking from my own logic lah. Okay, but the specific issue surrounding online purchase, why people go for online, that's where you need to do readings lah from journals and also from thesis. So you can start from the collection that I've downloaded, or you can find journals. Go to Google Scholar and you can just type online purchase, why people go for online, whatever lah, some keywords that you can play around. Okay, and then see what researchers focus, what are the main issues that they focus when they study on this particular issue. So that will be the part where you want to write your problem statement. Okay, which is, as I think I mentioned this earlier last week, the heart of the thesis is in the problem statement. If you are able to highlight, if you are able to write very precisely what is the issue that you want to focus, and why is it an important issue for you to investigate. Okay, and what are the potential solutions, or why is it important for you to investigate? Why you want to investigate it now? Okay, how about past study? What people have actually investigated? Is there any issue that has not been investigated before? Okay, when it comes to the issue that you want to investigate, so that you need to mention a bit in the problem statement. Okay, because don't forget, when I mentioned that in your introduction, as what I did here, I mentioned that there are some studies that were done on Malaysia as well. Okay, when it comes to the oil price issue. So when I mentioned this, the purpose for me mentioning these several articles is, by the time I write my problem statement, okay, by the time I write my problem statement, at least I can show that, okay, although there are some studies done in Malaysia on the Malaysian economy when it comes to oil price shocks, but they are looking at a different perspective or different variables, for example, or they are using different method, for example. So when I want to, why I want to do this project is because despite some people have done similar issue, but my study will be different. How you can actually answer some questions that were not answered in this research. So the same goes to your project lah. If you let's say if you are talking about the COVID-19 just now, okay, we're talking about the COVID-19 pandemic, okay, impact on the online purchase. Okay, so what you are actually focusing is, maybe the issue is you want to know are the reasons, okay, during pandemic 19, okay, the reasons why people actually go for online purchase during the pandemic. Is it similar to what people have found during not during the pandemic? For example, according to Mr. A, for example, Mr. A found that people go for online shopping because of XYZ, because it's cheap, because it's fast. But maybe because during pandemic, the reason is different. The reason is because you want to avoid being, impacted by COVID-19. So that could be the primary reason why people has gone online. Okay, or maybe because you are trapped. You cannot go, shopping. You have extra cash to spare because in the normal time, okay, maybe during weekend you will go out, watch movie, spend time outside, eat outside. So those money that you are able to save, so you end up spending the money on, gadgets, online purchase. So that could be another reason. So the focus of your project will be, you want to know if the reasons for online purchase is different during the pandemic, okay, compared to what other studies has found. So that will be an interesting perspective why you want to investigate the online purchase intention, okay, during COVID-19. So when you cite some studies done on Malaysia, so basically those studies found, they have their own findings or the conclusions when you as what you can read here, like in my own project. Okay, but when you write your problem statement, basically you want to show that, okay, even though other people have done studies on similar issue, but those were done not during the pandemic like COVID-19. And maybe you want to mention that some study in the US, for example, they found that, people go online shopping because of XYZ factor, which is different than what are the reasons during before the pandemic COVID-19. So you want to know, is that factors also apply among the Malaysian customers, Malaysian users lah. So that could be the reason why you want to investigate the impact of COVID-19, of COVID-19 on the online purchase behavior among the Malaysian customers, okay, or Malaysian users. So, of course, we will go through these problem statement examples, okay, next week, okay. But just to highlight in terms of how you want to write your introduction, okay. So, introduction / background of the study. So the word background means, okay, at your level, I will expect around 3 to 5 pages of your background. So where you need to provide some statistics, graphs, numbers, figures, okay, just to provide enough information that the issue that you want to investigate actually is an important issue to be investigated. Okay, not just you want to do because it's part of your requirement to get your degree lah, for example. So at least try to find the concrete reason, okay, one concrete reason why is it important for you to actually investigate that issue. Okay, so that will be the purpose of the problem statement later lah. Okay, so I think that is so that is the highlight of actually your into the chapter 1. Your background of the study. Okay, so when you discuss in groups, okay, so I will show now what are the previous topics among your seniors, okay, that I were able to. Let me see this. Okay, so. Okay, so I will show you some of the projects, just the title, okay, on what your seniors have done. So some of these were in Bahasa Melayu lah. So we have some international students in this group, so I will just translate them lah. So for example, this one group, okay, so the student did on the contribution of Grab services on UUM student income. So basically, the purpose of this project is to look at some UM students, they do provide, they involve in Grab service, Grab car, okay, so they want to know how much income they actually get from the Grab car service, okay, what is the why do they do it, what are the income, what time is the peak hour. So you can see most of the questions they constructed from scratch, meaning that maybe they got some ideas from past study, okay, because Grab car or Uber is not something is very is a common topic among researchers. Okay, so but the respondents was supposed to be among students who actually involved in Grab car service. Okay, but same like yours. Okay, I did not request them to actually find students that will actually do Grab car. So but these questions were given to their friends lah, to their classmates who did not even do Grab car, but just to pretend, as though they are the one also doing Grab car service. Okay, so they have this kind of questions where they ask their colleagues to answer, and then they key in the SPSS, and then they interpret the findings lah. Okay, so but it's a lot of work that went through, because there's not much example that we can find in the internet. Okay, using similar topic. So that's why I mentioned to you this to you guys several times. Okay, go and find topic that you can find the questionnaire already included in the thesis or in the journal. Okay, as long as it uses, you can find it interesting and relevant, especially if it relates to the issue of COVID-19, for example. Then of course it's not compulsory that you need to do something on COVID-19. Okay, but as long as you can reflect on the current situation, okay, whether it's directly related to COVID-19 or not. So that one, I let you guys decide lah what is interesting. So this is one topic that were done before. Okay, the second one is, I think this is in bahasa in Malay lah. Okay, but of course the report were done in English. It's just that the title, okay, of the question of the research, I think I can't remember whether the whole thing was done in Malay lah. Okay, but I think during that time we did not put like a compulsory for everyone to write it in English. Okay, so this one is about the impact of UUM on the traders in the Pekan of Changlun, in the city of in Changlun town. So we know that Changlun is the nearest town to UUM. So the intention of this is to look at the impact of having an IPTA or a university to its surrounding traders. Okay, so this topic is quite common. In terms of having a university as a catalyst, okay, pemangkin to the development of the surrounding area. So there were some studies done in Malaysia and also outside Malaysia about the role of a university to actually encourage the growth of economic activity. So this what was done before. Okay, so they have some again. Some of the questions were designed from zero lah, meaning they started from scratch. Okay, so they created this question: how many staff, how many customer, blah 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 lah. Okay, so again, the respondents were among their classmates lah. Okay, who pretend to be the traders. Okay, the pekedai lah, peruncit, pekedai dan sebagainya. So they did not go out and ask the traders lah. Okay, but the questions are good enough as if they were to do it actual data collection. So that is the focus of our assignment. Okay, not the respondent, but the question itself. So the question should be able to answer the objectives of the project. Okay, so whatever that they ask in the questionnaire should be able to answer the research questions from the thesis. Okay, and the third one is on the impact of increasing the increase in the cost of living on the support staff of UUM. UPSB stands for the support staff, those who do the cleaning the toilet, cutting the grass, doing the landscape. So we have this, the support staff who earns, I think, around below 2,000 ringgit a month. So these are, the lower income group, so who are affected when there is increase in the cost of living, okay, increasing prices and whatnot. So their respondent was supposed to be the staff of the UPSB, the support staff, okay, who do the cleaning, cleaning around the campus. So they want to know how actually they are able to survive or cope, okay, or do their budgeting, monthly budget, okay, from the small income that they get, okay, against the higher cost of living. So these are questions, okay. Well, topic on cost of living, I think is quite simple to, is quite common and quite easy to get the sample of questionnaires from the internet, okay. So they use some of them and modify some of them lah. Okay, so again, the respondent were among their classmates lah, not the actual UPSB staff. Okay, so this is another topic. Okay, and then another one will be on what is this topic about? Okay, the impact of the subsidy removal of petrol on the taxi drivers in Changlun, Kedah. So again, this is related, directly related on an economic topic lah, which is, I think when they did this project back in 2019, like 2 years ago, okay, so the purpose of the project is to, I think this was the time where the government decided to remove the subsidy, okay, of petrol, so which led to increase in the cost of diesel and petrol lah. So for taxi drivers, that means increase in the cost of production. Okay, when the subsidy is removed, they need to pay more lah for the petrol, okay, or for the diesel. So they want to investigate. The respondent was supposed to be the taxi drivers in Changlun. Of course, okay, they asked their friends to pretend to become the taxi drivers lah. Okay, so this is the, again, many of the questions were designed from scratch. Okay, so for example, how many times do they need to refuel the petrol? How much do they spend every time, you know, they put the refuel the petrol? Where do they go? So some of the things, I think, especially on the Likert scale question, okay, the scale 1 to 5. So I think this is, most of the information is collected from the Likert scale question. So again, a lot of time was spent to design the question. Okay, it looks quite simple, but trust me, okay, if you don't have any resource, okay, or example to refer to, it's quite difficult actually to construct your questionnaire. Okay, so that's why I mentioned this many times. Okay, also, so this is another interesting topic, the importance of halal logo in influencing your intention to purchase. Okay, so basically the halal logo that is very common in the Malaysian market. Okay, so and the topic of the halal logo is also very common in the literature, in the thesis, master's thesis, PhD thesis, and also in journals that you can find in Google Scholar. Okay, so you type halal logo, intention to purchase, something like that, the keyword, you should find a lot of articles actually exploring the importance of having halal logo at the back of the product, how actually it affects the consumer behavior, okay, whether to buy or not to buy the product. So basically, this study is quite simple in terms of the sources of the questionnaire. I think they were able to find something very close to their project. So basically, they follow the standard questionnaire, okay, and then so when they did this project, okay, it's just a matter of collecting the data, okay, again from their classmates lah, okay. And last but not least, this one, okay. Okay, I don't know why I couldn't open this file. Even this morning also, I couldn't open this file. Okay, but if you look at this title here, okay, the factors that influence influence the undergraduates to involve in part-time job, okay, in UM. So meaning that they want to look at why students actually work part-time in UM. Is it because of, you know, the income, they want to support the family, or they want just to earn extra money, okay, or because they want to get some experience in working. So these are just factors, okay, why students work part-time. Again, this is quite a common topic in the literature, in the journal, where you can find a lot of materials, okay, working part-time among undergraduates. Okay, so in the US, this is very common. If you watch, you know, movies American movies, American TV shows, you will see that many of the students, college students, university students, they work in pizza restaurant, in bar, in cafeteria. Okay, so it's very common among them to actually work part time, and it's not something that to be ashamed of. But I think in Malaysia, it's slightly different scenario, because if you work part time, then it's not something very common among your friends. Okay, so but in the US, this is very common, even among, even if the student come from rich people, rich background, so they just want to work, maybe just to get some experience. So this is one of the topic that you can think of as well. So when I share this title, okay, maybe you want to do something similar, okay, or maybe you want to get some inspiration. So basically, these are possible topics that you can explore. Okay, but of course, okay, when you read, explore the thesis, online journals, okay, topics related to, so feel, explore potential avenues of topics, as long as the data can be collected from questionnaire basis. Okay, not secondary data, meaning do not do topic like the macroeconomic impacts on FDI. So because that one is, of course, is based on secondary data, okay, which is not based on questionnaire. So the focus of our subject is I want to teach you guys how to construct questionnaire and how to actually use questionnaire to key into SPSS, because regression analysis you have learned in the basic econometrics. Okay, you learn already how to do simple regression, how to interpret the regression, how to correct for autocorrelation, hetero, multi-collinearity, and whatnot. Okay, so those skills you already have acquired in that particular subject. Okay, so for this particular subject, that's why we want to focus more on the analysis using primary data. Okay, but in terms of the overall structure of the thesis, the 5 chapters format: intro, literature review, method, result, and conclusion. So that one is, it apply both secondary data or primary data. So it doesn't matter whether your analysis come from secondary or primary data analysis, but the format is still this 5 chapters context lah. Okay, so whenever you read the thesis, okay, journals or thesis, so you need to have these two perspective. One, how the thesis actually designed or break down the analysis in the background, and also how do they write problem statement. Okay, and secondly, because the focus of our subject this semester, we focus only on the primary data analysis. So whenever you read the thesis, okay, it's not just about getting to about understanding how to write your introduction properly, but also you need to go and look for potential topics, and also questionnaire that is already integrated or given part of the thesis. So, or you can find some other sources, online. You can even type in Google, okay, sample of questionnaire, contoh questionnaire. You can type in Malay, okay, and then you can convert them into English lah. No problem. So you can type in Google how to, contoh soal kertas soal selidik, example of questionnaires, okay, and maybe by at any luck you may find good questionnaires where you can actually use that for your own project. Okay, so for me it's okay. It doesn't matter that you are using ready-made questionnaire, as long as the topic got to do with something to do on economics. Okay, and it's interesting for us to discuss, then that should be fine for me. Okay, so I think I will not be asking any questions to you guys, okay, because I did not give you any article to read in advance. So just to recap, okay, next Monday and also the next following Monday on the 25th and the 1st of November, we will not be having any live WebEx session, except on the 28th on Thursday, whereby I think the discussion will focus more on the problem statement. So I may be giving you some several articles or journals or thesis for you to refer to, okay, and then read them. And I think for the discussion, I'm more interested to see how you actually write your own simple 200 words, maybe half a page, or of your own problem. I mean, of course, you can discuss among your group members, because at the end of the day, when you want to write your own research project, your group assignment, you have one project that will have one problem statement. So you can discuss how you want to write your problem statement. Okay, and then at least I want to see how you actually plan to actually outline the problem statement based on the articles or journals or thesis that I will be sharing. I mean, basically, most of them will come from the Google Drive lah. Okay, so that is the plan for the next couple of weeks. Okay, next week and the following week as well. So okay, I think that's it for today. Okay, so inshallah we'll be seeing each other live again on next week, Thursday. Okay, if anything, we can just communicate through our WhatsApp group. Okay, so thank you. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to all.